I'm Jackie.
And I'm Ashley. Welcome back to Dumb Witch Club.
What is this episode today?
Q&A. Dumb Witch Club doing a Q&A. We answer all your burning witchy questions.
That evolved. Before we started, it was just the beginning, and then you added...
I don't know if you know this, but
so
I'm a musician.
Oh my god, you totally look like a musician.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really cool.
Screamo, right?
Totally. Obviously.
It's obs. She actually is a musician.
I am.
We're being silly, but she really is. And she wrote our theme song, our intro music. So if you don't know that, if you don't listen all the way to the end,
Yeah.
she did.
Yeah, pay attention.
And she's playing the piano for it, too.
Yeah.
She's
pay
amazing.
attention.
She's amazing.
Thanks.
I love her.
That's so sweet. I know you do.
I know, but now they know too, if they didn't already know.
Yeah.
Which,
If this is your first episode, you may not
Shoulda
already
known.
know, but
yeah,
otherwise you know.
should have known.
You know the love we have for each other.
Yes. So this is a Q&A episode.
It's Q&A. We've got a lot of Q's.
We had some Q's, so we're giving some A's.
I love that. We're always giving A.
Yeah, sometimes. Not for free, though.
Not for free. Speaking of, check out our Patreon. Just kidding.
Yeah, literally.
Kidding.
We're not kidding. But, yeah, so we have some questions we're going to get to. And,
Yeah.
just to also clarify, these are not questions about us.
Right.
These are witchy questions.
Right.
So just to clarify that.
Yes.
But before we get to that, we have a couple of things in order. One is a card pull.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do a card pull.
Let's get to it.
We're going to use the Seasons of the Witch Beltane Oracle deck. Again, it only seems pro.
Yes, because Beltane is actually... Well, I was going to say fast approaching as of recording time, but
Sure.
is on the day that this episode is released. It's on Monday, May 1st.
Yes. What a good, that's nice. For
I like that energy for
Yeah.
us, for this. Yeah.
I do too. And if you are watching this on the day that the episode is released, that's really nice because it gives you a chance to maybe do a little something or acknowledge it in some way. Maybe in a dumb witch way because you forgot about it and you were like, ooh.
Yeah.
Gotta do something.
Can't relate.
What? Can never be us. Except
except it literally is us. So, but it is May 1st, and it is sort of a midpoint between spring and summer officially, and it's a lovely, lovely Sabbat. So please consider it.
It's one of our favorites.
It actually is one of our favorites.
Behind Samhain, I feel like it's probably our favorite behind Samhain.
I think so.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes.
And this deck, of course, we have mentioned before, is fantastic.
Oh.
We love it. We
Yes.
love all of the Seasons of the Witch decks.
Gorgerella.
Love. Okay. Ooh. Love.
Feels nice.
Gosh, I know. I feel it like radiating
Right?
from
I
you.
did. I just kind of breathed that into it, and it felt
I'm really
lovely.
enjoying that. Okay.
I don't know why, but I knew you were going to do that. Oh, I knew you were going to do it. What is it?
Indulgence. You are worth every desire, every dream. Demand what is yours. Demand what you need. Gorgeous. This is very Taurus energy. And this is what we need.
I love it.
I love it.
And I saw you,
Ooh,
I zoned in exactly where you did. And that doesn't always happen, but I did. And then I saw you go for that. And I was like, no, she's going to go for that one. And then you did.
So the artwork is this beautiful, woman. She's in a bathtub. There's flowers around the bath. There's a moon out the window and this beautiful sky and water. It's just indulgent. It really is.
I love that.
Put that little friend up here if it's going to stay. It might not stay. We might not be. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah. If any of you have this deck, you should read what it says in the booklet for it because it's amazing. I'm not going to read it now because we're pressed for time, but it's lovely, even lovelier.
Yay. Well, I will definitely read it as well afterwards. But I think even without that, just you don't need to say too much more about it.
Mm-mm.
Indulgence.
Perfection.
Let's do it. Let's indulge. Let's indulge today.
Let's
Indulge ourselves. We have a why though segment.
Yeah, we'll start with a little why though.
To start.
You might be wondering why though. It's been a little bit of a why though-ish week for me.
Yes, we are in eclipse season, as we know.
Yeah.
And so I think that's always, at least for me, I'm just feeling very like kind of foggy, like I'm forgetting about things. There's so many things to remember, which, you know, but I'm kind of just like, oh, is that today? Or like, oh, that was yesterday? Like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. What
You
was
know?
I doing earlier when I was like, wait, what? Wait, what?
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Wait, what? Yeah. And you're like, do it again. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Wait, what? Yes, that is the energy that I'm feeling, which is sort of a like, I feel like it's also due to retrogrades.
Yeah.
So I just feel like, or, you know, you feel the retrograde shadow before the actual retrograde happens. There's a couple of retrogrades imminent. So tell what those are.
I feel like it's almost worse. Like, as you were saying that, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I feel like the retrograde shadow period is almost worse.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just the way that I process it or something, but I don't know. Maybe other people feel that way. Maybe if you do, I don't know. But it almost does feel worse because, like, once you're in it, it almost feels like, oh, okay, all right.
Well, because now it's like happening.
Yeah, it's happening. Exactly. It's like
Before that, it's like, it's gonna happen.
Oh, gross. It's like that anticipation anxiety, like part of it, which is gross. Okay. Yes. So, yeah, it's Mercury in retrograde, which is, you know, the oft-blamed planet. Whatever. It happens all the time. We need to get over that. But it's Mercury in Taurus in retrograde, which, I don't know. Part of me, when I was, like, thinking about that, was like, maybe that's a little bit of an easier retrograde because of that Taurus energy that's, like, coupled with it. Because... And again, with, like, the card we pulled and stuff, like, Taurus energy very much is about that slowing down, enjoying what's around you, the blooming growth.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't mind repeating or getting stuck because that we're supposed to.
See, I totally disagree. I feel like it's worse for that exact reason. That it's already kind of a, like, let's just stop and smell the roses.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it's like, but... I'm done smelling the roses.
For sure.
And I'm still smelling the roses.
You're like, they don't smell good
They
anymore.
don't smell anymore. They're dead now. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's very dark. I'm sorry. But I don't know. I don't know. But
no, but you're right.
I should actually listen to you. You shouldn't listen to me. You should listen to Ashley.
No, but maybe not. Because whatever. Like, you should just listen to however it, like, you know, affects you and do what feels right to you. Because if you're like... I can't smell these roses anymore. I'm annoyed. Like, that's okay. You don't have to do that, right? You don't have to. You can be like, I'm just waiting this period out because I'm just not interested. But if you feel like you can harness that energy and you're like, okay, that makes sense. I should do this, then do it. Whatever you want to do.
You're right about that.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're fine. You don't have to.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
There's another major retrograde that's going to be happening. We're already in the shadow period of that, but that is on May 1st, and that is Pluto going into retrograde.
Oh, yeah.
So Pluto has a little bit of a complicated transit at this time. So Pluto went into Aquarius back in mid-March, which I think we talked about, and we were kind of like, oh, this is kind of a really significant shift, which it is.
Right.
However... Pluto moves so slow. It never left 0 degrees of Aquarius. Just stayed right there on the edge of Aquarius. And now is retrograding, pop right back into Capricorn.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is we had a little preview of Pluto in Aquarius. And now we're going back into Pluto and Capricorn, which is what it had been in for like, whatever, 12 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's sort of like, I feel like that's also like a very like depressing retrograde.
I
know. And just sort of a very like dragging backwards.
It is.
You know.
And we said like the last time we were talking about it, we were like, Pluto is just going to come up again and again and be part of this story.
Yes.
Like in an annoying way.
Yes.
A little bit.
I know. And sometimes I feel like poor Pluto is like so far out there.
I know.
Still very significant in astrology, but as we know, sort of in the astronomy world, you know, demoted to like a, you know, dwarf planet. But there's tons of asteroids in astrology that are really significant. It doesn't really matter. But I feel like Pluto has like a little bit of an attitude sometimes because of that.
Yeah.
Pluto's like, hello, like I'm out here. I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah. But then I feel like he's, like, short. And you're like, are you there? Like,
I know.
Pluto? I can't see you. And he's, like, jumping up, trying to look over the counter. He's like, hello,
wait.
I'm here. Yeah. I don't know.
No, it's so true.
But Pluto really is about digging deep and going for stuff. And so I feel like when Pluto's in retrograde, it's very much like the excavation has halted. Yes. Or it's kind of like, oh, well, let me go back and dig up over there again. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. That really does not feel good for me.
No.
And it's crazy because I feel like most people would say, oh, well, that's your ruling planet, so that should feel comfortable to you, or at least you should feel like that's normal to you. And it's like, it doesn't. It feels awful. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't like it. I always live in that place. So when I'm forced to, like, repeat it and do it again and again, I'm like, can we not, though? Because I'm done.
But see, and here's an interesting just little tidbit overall. If you happen to have been born when Pluto was in retrograde, you might actually feel lifted by this, by Pluto being in, you might feel better about it because it's more aligned with where Pluto was in your chart.
That's a good point.
Yeah, just a little, and that's true with any planet.
Yeah, we should talk about that in more depth at some point.
Yes, we will talk about that in more depth at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the Pluto report.
Yeah, the Pluto report. I love that.
Yeah.
Aw. He would be very, like, happy to have that report.
I know. I think so. Now I feel bad that I called him like a child jumping up trying to look over the counter. He needs a Pluto report. He needs to be, I don't know.
I know.
Oh, well.
I imagine him, like, really far away being like, the Pluto report.
Yeah. And he's like, the what?
Everyone else is like, what? Pluto report.
But Pluto's also, like, kind of mean and kind of relentless. So he's not, like, a sweet little baby, you know?
That's true.
Anyways.
I don't really know where that character came from.
I know. No, it was cute. And
I think because you were talking about jumping up and it was little, so
I feel like he's a short little grown man.
He's a short little grown man.
He's, like, mad about it. Yeah. And he's like, you guys, it's the Pluto report.
He's like anger from Inside Out.
Yes. Stomping his foot. And
all
everyone's
squatty.
like, okay.
Like, okay, calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
I am calm.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
I know.
Great.
Anyways, too much.
Whoa,
okay.
tangent.
What else is happening on May 1st?
Yeah, that was a giant tangent. What else is happening on May 1st? What else is happening on May 1st? Oh, did I mention this? Sun is aligning with Mercury in retrograde. Did I say that? Sun is aligning with Mercury in retrograde. It's making a kazemi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a fun word.
It's fun. But yeah, I feel like that alignment can, like, maybe make it feel a little bit less draggy on that day. Like,
yeah, because the sun is giving some light energy.
It's giving some, And so, like, if you have to do things where you need to, like, make decisions or make things stick or whatever, like, that might be a good day to be doing it. Plus, it is Beltane on that day. So that's kind of fun.
Correct.
That's kind of nice that it's all aligning on that day.
Yes, it's kind of a little more energetic and less dragged down. So,
and I feel like if you're doing anything in terms of, like, stuff for Beltane, and if you're sort of, like, communing with, like, the Fae or, like, anything like that, I feel like that adds a little spice to that.
Totally.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that. No, I think you're totally right. I think there's obviously always multiple things we can mention, but I think we kind of need to jump to, like we said, we're in eclipse season.
Right.
The lunar, so we had the solar eclipse.
Yes, we did.
And now we are having a lunar eclipse, which always has to happen 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after the solar eclipse. That's the way that these work because they happen based on where the sun and the moon are. So we're having the lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Yeah. Well, the moon is in Scorpio. The sun is still in Taurus, which is why it's a lunar eclipse. But anyway, that's on May 5th.
Yeah, so get ready for that.
So get ready for that.
One of the last ones, or the last one on the Scorpio-Taurus, like, axis. So it's like we're kind of saying goodbye to that and, like, moving on to other things. But I think it's going to be a really good thing. I think it's going to be a really good releasing kind of, like, energy. I think particularly if you're a fixed sign, and we both are, I think I've been reading a lot of things and seeing a lot of things that are saying that May is going to be, like, a really good month for feeling like things are starting to feel back to normal and not so crazy. So I'm sort of looking forward to that. So if you're a fixed sign, like, just kind of wait. Your time is coming.
Yay! That is great news. I hadn't heard that, and now I feel very happy about that.
Same, because I'm like, why?
Because I can't wait for that.
Pluto report.
The Pluto report. No, so like you said, that was the why, though.
That was the why, though.
Yeah. you're like wondering why. This is why. And it's going to be changing, as always.
Yes.
It's our favorite thing about astrology. Well, one of our favorite things. It always changes. So whatever's annoying and dragging and tiring, it's going to change shortly.
Yeah, and then you'll have new things to blame.
And then you'll have new things to be mad about. So, yeah.
Yep.
Which is our other favorite thing about astrology.
I know. So great.
So much fun.
Built-in excuses.
Yes, love it, love it. Okay, so shall we move into our Q&A?
We shall.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have some questions that were sort of commonly asked, or that are, I think, really common questions about.
Yeah.
These are all sort of about witchcraft, witchy practices, some spirit guide energy stuff too. So.
Yeah, we thought these are questions that come up a lot to us, that we've been asked specifically, and that we've just seen like a pattern with like a lot of these specific ones. And so we kind of picked the ones that were interesting to us to sort of talk about at the time. Obviously, like whatever your questions are, like we'll address them at some point. So keep them rolling in. But these probably will answer some of your questions because we got these a lot. So.
Yes, and this is a Q&A, so they're going to be somewhat brief, addressing each subject.
Right.
But we can and plan to go into more depth on each of these in the future. So this is kind of just a little basic answer.
Yeah.
Right?
So if you have like question 1A or 1B, like let us know, because then we'll know what to do for the future.
Yes, exactly, because we are here to please.
At sometimes.
I was wondering what you were going to say to that. Okay, so with no further ado, question number 1.
Yeah.
Should I buy a grimoire or can I make my own? Is it dangerous?
Yeah. Which part of this do you want me to answer?
Well, I mean, you have to answer the whole thing.
I know. Okay. Do I have to buy one? No.
Agree. No, you don't.
Can I make my own? Yes. In fact, that's the nature of it. So, yes, you kind of have to. And is it dangerous?
Probably not.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to answer that because I want to say no.
Yeah.
Because no, but then I don't know what you're doing.
Exactly. That's why I said probably not. Yeah. Like, are you wondering, is this dangerous for me? Is something bad going to happen to me if I start making or working on a grimoire? No. But can you use that to be dangerous somehow?
Sure. I don't know who you are.
Yeah. So that's sort of the caveat answer on that.
Yeah.
But like, is it dangerous to... Okay, let's go back to the question of do you have to buy one?
Yeah.
No. In fact, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't even recommend buying one. No. I think you can... So a grimoire is basically a spell book.
Thank you. I was going to be like, what is it?
Yes. It's basically a spell book. I mean, there's sort of the historical context if it was like, you know...
Black magic.
Yes, black magic, which we have an episode where we talk about what that's all about.
Yes.
But it was for like, you know, how to contact demons.
Yes, how to conjure.
You know, Right, which is not what's meant by grimoire today.
No. The modern usage of it is just, it's the place where you record down your magical practices.
Exactly. Oh, I love that definition because I think a grimoire, yes, it's a spell book, but it also is a form of like a journal.
Yeah.
It is a form of, you can do, you can record your tarot readings or your tarot pulls. Because sometimes when you interpret it at the time, you don't know what it means. And then weeks later, you go back and you're like, oh my gosh, you know.
Yeah, totally.
So it's just a way of recording any and all of your magical practices.
Yes. And I think that I will say, like, something more definitive, like, should you have one? I'm going to say yes. I think we recommend that you do. For the simple reason that you're going to want to remember, particularly if you're starting out, you're going to want to remember those things that you thought of that you like maybe didn't know, and then you can look back and see that kind of journey of what you learned. Even if you're like recording stuff down and you don't really understand it fully, like just recording it down is showing kind of your journey. And then you can look back at stuff and be like, oh, I learned about that. But sometimes it's like looking back at stuff and that innocence is really like a good thing to revisit and be like, oh, like I need to get back to that place where I was like looking at things with such curiosity and not thinking that I just knew everything.
I think that's such a good point. And the reason I was smiling at the beginning of what you were saying is because it's like, yes, if you're new and a beginner, please start doing this and get in the habit of it, because otherwise you end up like years later and you didn't really do it at the beginning. So, dumb witch club. But yes, even if it's been years, just you can start. You can do it. And
start. Yeah. And it can be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be some fancy book or some, whatever. It can even be electronic if you like that. It can be a notes app or whatever on your phone if that's how you prefer to record stuff down, but it's yours to own and make your own, and it doesn't have to make sense to. That's what's really cool about it. Like the word comes from the word grammar. So it's like you making up your own language. So literally if someone opens it, it doesn't have to make any sense to them and probably won't, and that's amazing because it's your own thing.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the cool sort of like concepts of a grimoire too, is that if someone else were to open it, they might not be able to understand it. And that's really cool.
That is cool.
Yes. It's your own private world.
I love it.
Yes, so, I love it too. Also, you can find books like that are called that and that are like, the Witch's Definitive Guide to Spells and whatever and whatever. You totally could buy one of those and get ideas and also maybe record things. Like, we're not saying don't buy one.
No.
But you don't have to, and I think it really is meant to be a personal expression of your magical journey, basically.
Yeah. I like that you did say that caveat, though, because, they have ones that are, like, kind of guided. I've never really looked at them. I can't recommend.
No, I don't have one to recommend, but I know they exist.
There's probably some pretty good ones that gives you a little guidance at first. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If that resonates with you and you need sort of a place to start, feel free, but you'll probably branch off to your own thing, I'm guessing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, okay, very good.
Good.
Oh, so this is an interesting one. And the other thing is that we know the questions we're answering, but we didn't check with each other's answers. So, the question here is, can my pet be my familiar?
Oh.
And I feel like the answer is maybe.
Yeah.
But only if your pet is your familiar.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't just make your pet into your familiar.
No.
That's not how that works.
No. You can't just turn something into... Yeah, I would agree with that. And it all depends on what kind of your definition of a familiar is and sort of what you subscribe to. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, so what do we think? So for me, a familiar is a spirit that is manifested into a physical form. Often it's the form of an animal. Okay. It doesn't have to be an animal. But it's sort of in contrast to like maybe an apparition type of spirit or something.
Spirit guide.
Yes, which is sort of something like in your mind or in your heart. This is like a physical being. But that it's even more than just that. It is sort of your double, your alter ego. It's sort of your self in a separate form that is sort of meant or brought to you. It's like for, protection and to serve, but it's also sort of a unspoken, unplanned merging of yourself with another part of yourself that is separate from you. I'm like, whoa, that went really metaphysical.
Cool. I love that, though. That's really cool. Yeah, I mean, and so if that's the case, like, you can't, like, force, something. It either is that or it's not that.
Yes, and so in my mind, you don't get to choose this happening or not.
Right.
So, and just as an example, or to make it personal, like, I have cats. I have had cats my whole life. I've had cats that I love dearly and deeply and who would, like, come and sleep on my bed when I was sick or, all kinds of things.
Totally.
But I have one cat who I believe to be my familiar.
Yeah.
And her name is Toast, and she's black. And my relationship to her is not just, this is my cat. She is obsessed with me. She follows me. but she's not cuddling with me all the time.
Right.
She waits outside the door. If I'm like taking a shower or in the bathroom, she'll wait outside the door. And when I walk out, she like runs away.
Yeah.
You know, and she's always lurking in the background. She's checking on everything. She knows everything.
Yeah.
She's not like my best friend cat. She's
No.
a being that I don't understand. I don't understand her.
Definitely. But you,
and it's weird, but
you
it's cool.
do. Like you don't, but you
But
do.
I do. Exactly.
And I this is sort of, okay, so this example is what I was thinking of when I was thinking about the answer to this question. Because to be honest with you, like, the jury's out for me on this topic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I feel like for me, it gets murky because I start to think of, like, spirit animal type of stuff, and
which is...
it's a completely different thing.
Yes, and we don't like that.
No,
we both don't
we
like
don't.
spirit animals.
No,
so.
no. And it's appropriation, and like
Yes,
it's
for that reason.
And that's why I feel a little And so for me, it's like I'm not sure, you know, and like even in my culture and stuff, there's a version of like a spirit animal type of thing. It's a little bit different in like Celtic culture, but even with that, I feel that, but it's more abstract. It's kind of like what you were describing. It's more symbolic. It's more abstract. There's not like, I feel that way about like owls, but like there's not like, I don't have one. I'm not like this particular one. For me, it's always been a little bit more abstract. I don't think I've ever had this kind of relationship, but you do.
Yes, and I think the reason I feel this way is because of Toast and because of noticing like how this feels like a strange and different type of relationship with an animal.
Yes, and I've seen you and experienced the two of you. Like, I've seen you get like psychic downloads from her where it's like she's literally talking to you and you can communicate with her. And I'm not talking about like animals learn certain words. Like my like punk cat like knows certain phrases and stuff, and he will follow them if he chooses or whatever. He's smart. He knows. But, like, that's not what I'm talking about. Like, I don't hear his voice in my head. It's just, he's a cat. I love him, but he's just a cat.
Yeah, and my other cats, that's how I feel about them, too. And that's how it is with them.
But with her, it's different. And I remember, like, certain times, you know, where...
Yes.
And like, you'll actually speak out loud, like, things. And it's like she understands you and knows what you're saying.
Yes, and... I know I sound crazy. I have asked Toast a question.
Yeah.
And I have gotten an answer in my head that is from her.
Yeah.
I know it is from her.
Yeah, and we've seen, like, obviously I believe you and trust you wholeheartedly 100%. I know that what you're saying is valid without adding anything to it or any caveat to it. However, I have actually also seen the behavior reflected.
Yes.
Like, in her actions.
Yes.
So I know she understood. Like, I've seen it. I don't really know how else to explain it. So when I was generating, like I said, my answer to this question, I sort of like was on the side of like people that haven't experienced this and just saying, I don't know, you might experience it one day. Who am I to say? And if you can have psychic connections and really deep connections with your pets, but it doesn't mean it's this. But I do know somebody who does have this.
I know.
So, and it can happen to you. You didn't know it was ever going to happen to you.
No, I didn't even realize that that's kind of what this was for a long, long time.
No.
And I don't walk around calling her my familiar.
No,
you know what I
no.
mean? Or like introducing her to as people. Like
No.
But when I think about, I think that really is
I agree.
how you describe that.
Yeah, I agree. And I wouldn't have... I
don't introduce her to people in general. I'm just
right.
saying, like, that was weird.
These are my cats.
And this is my cat Toast. Like, hello.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, whatever.
Yeah, she would give me a meow. She'd be like, no.
Yeah,
whatever.
I know.
Okay, that was odd. That was weird.
Totally.
But yeah, my answer was bleh, because your answer is like the actual answer. I was like, I don't know, familiars. Yeah. But I'm like, but I know someone who has this experience. So
yeah, but again, if I didn't have the experience I do have, I would have the same exact feeling and answer. So that's the thing that's really cool too, is as you have different experiences, whether they're witchy or not, you feel differently and have different opinions about things.
You do, and it's cool because, you know, like, I love animals a lot. Mm-hmm. You know this. But, you know, I don't know. Like, I think I love them too much, and they like run away from me. Like, I am not like the animal whisperer at all. Like, most of the time the cats are like, please don't.
Love them.
I do love them, but I like to hug them and kiss them and like get in their face, and then they're like, ugh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't even like really imagine myself having a familiar, because I feel like my familiar would be so sick of me that it would be like, please, like, why do I have to be with this like being? Like, I can't do it. If I maybe have had one, it probably ran away. Because I'm like Elmira from Tiny Toons. I'm like, oh, you're so cute, and it's like, God, please don't.
I know, but that's not how that works.
I know.
That's not how that works.
I know,
but
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
really was not an answer from me.
No. So I think the summary answer is you can't. At least in my opinion,
yeah.
or maybe also in your opinion,
Yes.
you can't just make a pet into a familiar.
No, you can't.
It kind of is a unique phenomena that either it happens to you or it doesn't happen to you, and you can't make it happen, or you can't make it happen with the animal.
Right, and you don't have to call it that or whatever if you don't want to, and like there's no rule about it, so.
Yeah, and you don't have to have one. You can just live your whole life without one.
It's not like a witch kit thing. Like, you have to have your broom, and you have to have your wand, and then you have your familiar. Like, no.
You're not a real witch until you have one.
That's dumb.
Yeah, that's not true.
No, not true at all.
All right, next question.
This
is a pretty simple question. What is a sigil? I hear about this. What is it?
I hear about this.
Sort of an angry question. I just added the tone.
This.
It probably wasn't an angry question. That was my tone.
I love that, though. I hear about this. What is it?
Yeah.
It's cute.
I know. I think things are confusing, and you might hear it, and you're like, what is that? I hate that thing where somebody says something, and we've probably done it to people.
Sure.
Where someone says something, and then you're like, I'm supposed to know what that is, and I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, crap.
Yeah, and then you're like, what is it? And you're like trying to Google it.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's where in my mind, that's where this question is coming from.
Right.
Like, I keep hearing this, and I think I'm supposed to know what it is, and I don't know what it is.
They probably have heard that from us because we've said it so many times.
I know, that's what I'm saying. We probably have done that too.
That's why that person was like, I hear about this. They're like, from you, because Ashley keeps saying it. And then you keep saying that you're going to talk about it, and you don't.
Yeah, that's probably true. Anyway, we are very sorry if that is the case. But we are addressing it now.
We are.
It's always time to rectify. So, okay. So, what is a sigil?
Okay, this is a sigil, and I love them. Okay, so historically, it was like a symbol that had like power to it, and it would be like painted on a wall or as like part of like a coat of arms or something like that. But it wouldn't be like a very obvious thing. It would usually be kind of like a smaller, just like part of a pattern or something like that. But it was meant to have like, it was imbued with magical power just because of the way that the symbol was put together. Sometimes like the colors, the imagery, whatever. But it was mostly because of like the symbol, the way that it was like intertwined and everything like that.
Yes.
So but the cool thing is you can create your own, and you can use it, as you've heard us talk about, to protect your space or to protect yourself, to like attract something to you, set a boundary, all of those things. It's a very like tangible way to do that, and sometimes you really need kind of a tangible thing. So it might be, I can explain it, it might be hard to kind of visualize.
Well, I almost feel like I don't know how much we want to explain, because I think there's so much to say about how to create a sigil.
Yeah, I know.
And it's not that it's complicated per se.
No.
But I feel like that warrants an entire
I really feel like it does, because I'd also like to show like visuals so that people could understand how to do it, because it's such an incredible thing.
Yes.
I mean, particularly...
But the gist of it is...
The gist of it is you write a phrase. It needs to be a short phrase. Sometimes, like, I've heard people say, like, oh, it should be, like, a positive phrase. I don't agree with that, by the way. I just don't. Like, a lot of people say, like, oh, make it... Like, don't make it, like, a removing or a banishing. I think you can.
I think, well, anyway, I feel like this is going to start getting into way too much detail. Because
short phrase, you write a short phrase, you spell it out, you cross out repeating letters, and you cross out vowels. You're left with like a collection of letters that looks like it's gibberish and makes no sense. What you do is you take those letters and you rearrange them to make a symbol out of them.
Yeah, exactly. So you're layering letters over letters into one symbolic design, basically.
Yeah, however you like the design, you can play with it and see what resonates with you and kind of what feels right, and then there you go.
The other thing that I love about sigils, which echoes what you were saying, is that, so a lot of times, you know, we're sort of taught or it's implied that we need to, like, you know, accept and surrender to things, and that is certainly part of living like a peaceful life. Definitely. But sigils are actually about being much more active.
Yes.
They are about like putting action into creating something, which is like your, you know, Mars energy getting activated. Totally. And you're using it in a very active way to manifest something, to actually promote a specific outcome. And it's very personal, so it's your personal energy that is flowing into that.
Yeah, it's the most personal because it's your words, and then you create a design that has never been seen before in the world.
Exactly. It's strictly unique.
Yes.
And that's why you can't just go like get a sigil off the internet or something like that. You actually must make your own for it to be valid. And and I wouldn't say such a definitive statement about a lot of things, but in this case I do.
Yeah, definitely. I love how action oriented and tangible it is because sometimes you really need that. I'm the first person to say, you know, it doesn't have to be, and it's all about intention, could be in your mind. Yeah, but this is a really simple way to make something super tangible and like visible. I love words. If you're someone that loves words and expressing yourself in the written word, this is something that is going to be really, really cool to you and really resonate with you because there's also something so powerful about using your words. And like, you cannot tell me what I think. I am going to put this the way that I want to say it, and I'm going to actually wear that. It's amazing.
Yeah, so we are definitely going to do a whole episode on sigils, how to make your own. We will do examples, like we will walk you through the entire process in detail, different versions, ways to do it, because I think it's super powerful, really important. But that's a broad answer of what a sigil is.
I think it's a pretty good answer.
I think it's a very good answer for now. So, and look forward to more on that.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be a really good one. I know, for sure. Okay, so our last question here is, how do I communicate with my spirit guides while blocking negative energy or entities?
It's such a good question.
That's such a good question.
It's a really good question, and I think it's something that, you know, you're going to be figuring out for your entire life.
Yes, I think, unfortunately, this is a question that really does not have an answer.
It doesn't, and
or it has like 1,000 answers.
It does, and it's like, did you expect anything else from us? Because, hello, like, do we really ever give you like solid answers? Unless it's an opinion.
Do we ever give you anything useful? Rarely.
Unless it's something that we're like, we hate that. Then we do. They're like, actually, you do it all the time.
No, we don't.
You routinely say that you hate things or love things. Stop it. No, we don't.
Yeah.
Okay? We don't. We don't
you
tell
don't hear
you
what we say.
what to do. You don't. Stop thinking that you know. You don't know. And no, it's just like your approach to people in your life, like who you give energy to, and however you want to define that for yourself, like who you're giving energy to and who you're not. I mean, just because you don't give energy to people that are negative or toxic to you doesn't mean that it's like a door that's shut and then like you don't get to give energy to people. You can discern like where you're directing that energy and the access to your energy.
Exactly. And that's exactly sort of my example too, or my analogy with this was, you know, when you are trying to block negative energy, which you should be wanting to do, especially if there's something specific where you feel like negative energy is coming from a certain person or like a situation that you're having to be involved in or whatever.
Right.
So you don't want to think about it in terms of like building wall around yourself.
Right.
It's more like a screen.
Yeah, like a screen.
And things can still filter in and out, but because you're choosing, even just in your mind, what is going to be filtering in versus what is not going to be able to filter in, I think that's where you start to get to being able to receive positive guidance while still blocking what you need to block.
Yeah, and look, it's going to be tricky sometimes because just like there are people in life that are really good manipulators and gaslighters and can really deceive you, and that doesn't mean anything about you or that there's anything wrong with you. But that happens, right, to the best of us. Like, just like that does in life, it's going to happen in the spiritual realm too. And there are going to be, you know, entities and energies and things that are really good at camouflaging and stuff. You're not always going to know, and sometimes you're going to get, you know, maybe fooled a little bit. But I think if you really focus less on that and you focus on like cultivating a really strong, good energetic team, that team is on that other side fighting for you. So it's helping you to discern like what is bad and what is good and what you should be allowing and what you're not. And if you really are in tune with the good ones, that'll help you fight that fight.
Yes, and I also think that your spirit guides are always available to you.
Yeah.
And even if you feel like they're getting crowded out or clouded or something, they are still there.
Yes, and they're stronger. They're stronger than anything bad and negative. So they will always come through for you, you know, and sometimes there's lessons you have to learn, you know, it gets complicated, whatever. But
which is why we said there's not one
an
answer to this, or there's like a bunch of different answers.
Yeah, and there's going to be times where you think you were spot on and you realize you weren't, and then the point is that it's okay. As long as your intent is good and positive and you're focusing on that, like you'll be able to figure it out, and you definitely can do both, just like you can do both in real life. Like swipe left.
Exactly. Yes.
Block him. Dump him.
Exactly. Yes, definitely. Yeah. I think that's all very true. And I think there may be even more to say on some of this at some point as well.
Yeah, probably.
But that's a pretty good non-answer answer.
Yeah, I think
that
so.
Question. So
there's just not going to be an answer.
No, of course not. Or it's a personal answer.
Exactly.
Too. So, okay, I think that wraps up all the cues for our A's.
We gave the A's
today.
That's all we have.
Yes.
Hope you were satisfied.
You better be. And if you weren't,
keep it to yourself. Tell us. Tell your spirit guides. We don't want to know.
So, on that note, until next time,
stay witchy, friends.
And stay dumb.
Dumb Witch Club is written and produced by us, Ashley Sidner
and Jackie Gerard, at the Dumb Witch Clubhouse in Orange County, California.
Produced and edited by Matt Heinemeyer, creative director and culture consultant Violet Turner.
Original music by Ashley Sidner. And look us up on all your favorite social media platforms, including Patreon.
Until next time, stay witchy, friends.
And stay dumb.